Yeah, I mean, Luka was making a defensive effort. Okay, I was impressed. Obviously, the elephant in the room is that they have a better record without LeBron James and with him. And to me, this is a view of what the Lakers are going to look like going forward. Whether LeBron James retires or goes into free agency, I don't expect him to be a Laker next season. Evaluate the team and kind of see what Luka and AR need for the future.
Luka Doncic just delivered one of those nights that makes the entire league stop and stare. 51 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists, and the Los Angeles Lakers walked away with a 142-130 victory over the Chicago Bulls. On paper, that sounds like the story everyone should be talking about. A superstar performance, a huge win, and another reminder that Luka can absolutely take over a basketball game whenever he wants.
It can heat up in a hurry. He's now 1 for 10 from downtown. Doncic, nifty finish.
When the final buzzer sounded, the scoreboard read 120-106. The Lakers didn't just win, they handled Minnesota with confidence. Luka Doncic finished with a 31-point triple-double, controlling the offense like a conductor leading an orchestra. At the same time, Austin Reeves matched him with 31 points of his own, and what made it even crazier was where most of that scoring came from. 29 of those points arrived in the second half alone. The Timberwolves never really recovered, and while all of this was happening, something unusual stood out on the sideline. LeBron James wasn't on the floor, he was sitting on the bench in street clothes. Now, there's a version of that sentence that people immediately twist into criticism of LeBron. That's not what this conversation is about. LeBron James is undeniably one of the greatest players the sport has ever seen. That part of basketball history is already written in permanent ink. But here's where things start getting interesting. Over the last few games, the Lakers have been playing without him. And during that stretch, the results have been surprising. They beat Minnesota convincingly. They held the New York Knicks to only 97 points, something very few teams managed to do this season. And suddenly, without LeBron on the court, the Lakers have started playing their most efficient basketball of the year. If you've been watching closely, you might already know what the numbers are about to reveal. Because the reality that's starting to emerge is almost impossible to ignore. The Lakers may have finally discovered their identity. Today we're going to break all of this down: the advanced stats, the lineup data, the defensive improvements, and the evolving chemistry between Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. More importantly, we're going to talk about why this partnership might matter far beyond just the season. And yes, we're also going to address the conversation that people in Los Angeles are hesitant to say out loud. The future. What happens next for this franchise? What does the long-term plan actually look like? And what could this team realistically become if the front office makes the right decisions heading toward the 2026-27 season? So stick around, because some of the numbers behind this story are honestly wild. Before diving into the chemistry between Luka and Reeves, we need to establish a baseline. The Lakers' record without LeBron this season isn't something you can easily dismiss as coincidence or small sample size. The difference is too consistent. When LeBron plays, the Lakers sit at 26-18. That's a solid team, the type that probably lands somewhere around the 5th or 6th seed in the Western Conference if things break right. But when LeBron sits, they're 14, 7th, and the deeper metrics make things even more interesting. When Luka, LeBron, and Reeves share the floor together, the three players this roster is essentially built around, the team posts a net rating of -9.8. 3 stars on the court, yet the team is getting outplayed. Now flip the situation. When Luka and Reeves play together without LeBron, the net rating jumps to +19.3. That's not just good, that's one of the most dominant two-man combinations in the entire NBA. The exact same players that struggle together in a 3-man lineup suddenly become one of the league's most dangerous backcourt pairings the moment LeBron steps off the floor.
Play a little basketball.
Conley the bump. Doncic hits foul call. He's got 14 in the first quarter.
And the results follow the numbers. When Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves run the offense without LeBron James, the Lakers have gone 10-2. So what's causing the difference? The answer comes down to a few fundamental basketball principles: spacing, timing, and clarity. Great offenses operate best when everyone understands exactly where the ball should go and what the next read will be before the defense even reacts. Players know their roles, the rhythm is consistent, and the system flows naturally. But when LeBron and Luka share the court, things become complicated. Both players are at their absolute best when the offense runs directly through them. That's not a flaw, it's simply the reality of how they've built their legendary careers. Recently, Paul Pierce pointed out that their skill sets overlap too much. It sounded blunt, but he wasn't exactly wrong. The issue isn't talent, it's fit. Two dominant playmakers sharing one basketball means the offense often spends time trying to balance responsibilities instead of flowing freely. When LeBron sits, the structure becomes simpler. Luka becomes the clear primary creator. The tempo increases, the reads become cleaner, and suddenly Austin Reeves has room to actually show what he can do. Instead of waiting in the corner for possessions to develop, he becomes a real part of the offense. And what he's been doing in that role might surprise a lot of people. Before we dive deeper into Reeves' production, there's another major piece of the story that deserves attention: the defense. Coming into March, the Lakers ranked 22nd in defensive rating, allowing 115.3 points per game. That's not the type of defense that survives deep playoff runs. The reason wasn't difficult to identify either. When you play multiple players with defensive limitations heavy minutes together, you end up trying to hide all of them at the same time. Eventually, there's nowhere left to hide. LeBron, even at an incredible 41 years old, is still a remarkable athlete. But his lateral quickness isn't what it once was, and opposing teams know exactly how to attack that. Pick and rolls, isolation drives, guards forcing switches. And Luka has never been known as a defensive stopper either. With both players on the court, Reeves often ends up trying to cover for two separate defensive vulnerabilities. That's an impossible task for anyone. But when LeBron sits, the lineup changes. Defensive specialists like Marcus Smart can slide into the wing position, while Rui Hachimura strengthens the frontcourt rotation. Suddenly, the Lakers have legitimate point-of-attack defenders on both wings, and the entire defensive structure improves. During their recent three-game stretch without LeBron, opponents averaged just 106.7 points per game. The Knicks were limited to 97 points, and even explosive scorers like Anthony Edwards struggled badly, shooting just 2 of 15 from the field. With Luka and Reeves leading the lineup without LeBron, the Lakers post a defensive rating of 111, which ranks among the league's top 10 units. That's a defensive identity the team simply hasn't been able to maintain with all three stars sharing the floor. And then there's Austin Reeves. Some people have been quick to dismiss his recent production as a temporary hot streak. They point to scheduling, sample size, or random variance. But the numbers tell a different story. Without LeBron this season, Reeves is averaging 28.4 points, 4.8 rebounds, and 7.8 assists across 16 games. That level of production would make him a legitimate all-star on many teams. Meanwhile, Luka in those same games is averaging 35.1 points, 9.3 rebounds, and 8.4 assists. Think about that for a second. Two players in the same backcourt, both performing at levels where either could comfortably serve as the first or second option on almost any team in the league. And the reason the partnership works is surprisingly simple when you watch the film. Reeves thrives without the ball. He moves constantly, navigates screens beautifully, reads defenses quickly, and finishes through contact. He doesn't require the ball to stay involved, but he's perfectly capable of creating when the moment arrives. That's exactly the kind of partner a ball-dominant superstar like Luka needs. Instead of competing for control of the offense, Reeves complements him. After the win against the Knicks, Luka even said that playing with Reeves makes his job easier because of the attention Reeves attracts from defenders. That's not just praised, that's chemistry. The two-man game between Luka and Reeves is already starting to resemble a legitimate offensive system rather than simple improvisation. Luka draws multiple defenders, swings the ball to Reeves coming off a screen, and suddenly the defense is forced into impossible decisions. Leave Reeves open and he scores. Overcommit to him, and Luka gets spaced. It's a pressure and release dynamic that has powered some of the best backcourt pairings in NBA history. And the most exciting part? They're still just getting started. The two haven't even had a long stretch together yet. The chemistry is still developing, the instincts are still sharpening, and the ceiling of what they could become together is difficult to measure. Which leads to the real question surrounding the Lakers right now. Because as promising as this duo looks, the current roster still isn't a championship team. Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves represent a foundation, not a finished product. So what does the future actually look like? And can this version of the Lakers work if LeBron James remains part of the equation? That's the uncomfortable conversation. It's not about disrespecting LeBron or ignoring what he's accomplished. At 41 years old, he's still producing meaningful numbers on a competitive team, which is extraordinary by any standard. But extraordinary for a 41-year-old and ideal for a championship roster are two different realities. And the Lakers may soon have to confront that distinction. When you have a superstar like Luka Doncic in his prime, the championship window opens immediately. The organization has to build around that timeline. The most realistic path forward may arrive when LeBron's contract eventually comes off the books, giving the front office financial flexibility to construct a roster specifically tailored to Luka and Reeves. That means adding defensive wings who can guard multiple positions, knock down open threes, and strengthen the team's defensive backbone. It means finding a true rim-protecting center who sets solid screens and anchors the paint without needing offensive touches. The current lineup of Luka, Reeves, Smart, Hachimura, and a defensive center isn't far from that blueprint. The bigger question is whether the Lakers' leadership has the clarity and the courage to fully commit to that direction. If they do, the opportunity is real. Because the pitch to future players becomes simple. Join a team led by Luka Doncic, one of the best players in the world, paired with a dynamic backcourt partner who helps the entire offense float. That's a foundation capable of attracting serious talent. By the time the 2026-27 season begins, Luka will be entering his absolute prime at 27 years old, already holding multiple first-team All-NBA selections. Build the right roster around that level of talent, and suddenly the Lakers aren't just competitive, they're contenders. Maybe not immediately this season. Teams like the Oklahoma City Thunder still present major challenges, but the long-term potential is undeniable. And no matter what happens in the playoffs, the remaining games will reveal something important. If Luka and Reeves continue leading the team successfully, the front office will have a clear vision of what the future should look like. Because the truth is already visible. The Lakers have something real. A generational superstar from Slovenia paired with a relentless guard from Arkansas who earned everything the hard way. That combination might just define the next era of Lakers basketball. And the sooner the franchise embraces that reality, the sooner they transform from an interesting team into one that every opponent genuinely fears. So now the question goes to you. What do you think the Lakers' ceiling is this season? And which players should they target this offseason to build around Luka and Reeves? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit the like button and check out another video on your screen right now.